The transatlantic slave trade was a harrowing period in history, marked by unimaginable cruelty and suffering. For over 4 centuries, millions of Africans were forcibly taken from their homes, loaded onto ships, and transported across the Atlantic Ocean to be sold as slaves in the Americas. This cruel practice had devastating consequences for countless individuals and communities, forever shaping the course of history. To truly understand the magnitude of this trade, it is necessary to delve into the details of its origins, methods, and impacts. The transatlantic slave trade can be traced back to the 15th century, when European explorers began actively engaging in maritime exploration and trade. As the demand for labor in the New World grew, so did the need for a cheap and abundant workforce. Europeans initially attempted to enslave the indigenous people of the Americas, but diseases, resistance, and moral objections hindered these efforts. Thus, attention shifted to Africa, where kidnapping, warfare, and the existing institution of slavery provided a steady supply of captives. The methods employed by European slavers in capturing Africans were ruthless and barbaric. European ships, known as slave ships, would set sail for Africa, equipped with various goods to be exchanged for slaves. Upon arrival, these ships would establish contact with the local African leaders, encouraging them to raid neighboring communities and sell captured individuals as slaves. The violence and trauma inflicted upon African societies during these raids were immeasurable. Families were torn apart, villages were destroyed, and entire generations were lost to the horrors of the trade. Once captured, Africans were subjected to unimaginable suffering aboard the slave ships. Packed tightly together in the ship's cargo hold, these individuals endured cramped and unsanitary conditions for weeks or even months. Many died from diseases, malnutrition, and mistreatment during the journey known as the Middle Passage. The conditions on the slave ships were unbearable, with minimal access to fresh air and sunlight. The stench of human waste and death permeated the air, dehumanizing the captives and stripping them of their dignity. Upon arrival in the Americas, the conditions for enslaved Africans did not improve. They were sold at slave markets to the highest bidder and subjected to brutal labor and harsh living conditions on plantations, in mines, and in households. Families were often separated, with children being taken from their parents, and women were vulnerable to sexual exploitation and abuse. The physical and psychological torment endured by these individuals was immeasurable, perpetuated by the dehumanizing institution of slavery. The transatlantic slave trade had profound and lasting effects on both Africa and the Americas. In Africa, the loss of millions of young and able-bodied individuals resulted in a significant demographic imbalance, hindering economic and social development. The continent also experienced social upheaval as communities were torn apart, leading to the weakening of traditional structures and cultures. In the Americas, the institution of slavery fueled the growth of economies, with enslaved Africans being treated as mere property, their labor exploited for the benefit of our government had. The transatlantic slave trade stands as a chilling reminder of the depths of human cruelty and the enduring legacy of systemic oppression. It is a painful chapter in history that should never be forgotten. The stories of those who endured the horrors of the trade serve as a testament to human resilience and the ongoing fight for justice and equality.